Okay guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, the hardbody SR. Moving forward, today we're about to be taking this engine out and we're about to be stripping it down, getting it ready to go to the machine shop so they can tell me what's fucked up. So anyway, I'm gonna just jump right into it, get you guys a little time lapse. I'm by myself, so it's gonna take me a while, but it's gonna be a few seconds for you guys. So let's get right into it. All right. Little update, this is where we're at. Got everything disconnected. Yeah, pretty much good to come out. Got my little helper up here. What's up, buddy? You say hi? Say hi. Yeah, so everything's disconnected. Yeah, basically just yanking it out at this point. The little doggo with me too. So yeah, let's get to it. As you can see, got the truck outside. Got the engine here. Here, let me close this garage. I really need to put more lights in this garage. Anyway, got the engine here. I just took off the clutch. Trying to keep all my stuff organized. Got all my bolts here. It's gonna be at the machine shop for, I'm assuming, some time, so I just know if I didn't do this, I was gonna get mixed up on where I put all my stuff. So anyway, just giving you a little update. This side's gonna be super easy to take everything off because most of everything is just the turbo manifold, so that comes off relatively easily. So anyway, I'm gonna get back to it and get all this whole thing stripped down. All right, guys, so welcome back. From just a couple seconds ago, that last clip was honestly like maybe 3 months ago. Anyway, it was some time ago. And the reason for that is because after I took the engine out, took it to the machine shop, they had it for some time, but actually it was relatively quick. Considering it's a machine shop, right? They usually take forever and a day, but they got it in and out more or less, relatively speaking. So my whole thing was once I got it back, I was just so eager to get it back together that I just didn't record. And on top of that, my SD card on this damn GoPro was full, so I just didn't have the motivation to go through clear to get more space. So my bad. But anyway, good news is engine's fully rebuilt, forged piston, you know, the whole shebang, right? Got some good parts in there. What the actual issue was, so if you guys remember, I was having blow-by, real bad blow-by. It was just like coating the intake track and everything. It was just like, it was basically the engine was shot, right? Did a compression test, cylinder number 1, lower compression than the rest. When they tore it down, they found out that two cylinders were bad. The number 1 and number 2 cylinder, the ringland was cracked, and it was actually like, it was barely in place, right? But lucky enough, it didn't scar the cylinder walls like at all. Like, I went there after they tore it down. They told me to come by and check it out, and dude, it was like, by the grace of God, it was like you could still see the OEM cross hatching on the cylinder walls. There was no marking at all from that ringland failure. So got super lucky, so I was able to keep stock bore for replacement pistons, of which we went with forged CP pistons. And I took it to a local shop. Little did I know, the shop that I've been hearing about for, you know, many years was actually local to me. It was Hasselgren Engineering, and it's in Berkeley, California. I'm in Vallejo. Yeah, I had no idea they were there. And well, if you don't know about Hasselgren, they're like huge in the 4AG engine building game, right? Out of the Corollas and stuff, and just world-renowned engine builder. Dude's name's Paul. So right on, Paul, Kevin over there at Hasselgren. If you guys ever see this, doubt it, but yeah, man. So anyway, you got to pay to play, which is crazy because I'm from a time where SR20s are like $2,500, right? Like, at least that's when I was buying them back in the day. Nowadays, you know, it's like they're like $6K for a red top. I mean, realistically, like, if you don't get it out of import, you get it off the street, which, you know, is basically the same gamble you're taking. They're relatively cheaper now, around 4 to 5, 38 to 5, I guess, right? But this one's rebuilt, right? So it's all, you know, basically brand new. So at any rate, I pay hella money to have this thing rebuilt. But I did figure that, hey, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. And by doing it right, I mean I'm gonna go to somebody that's notable, you know, is trustworthy in the engine building world. So yeah, so what else? Okay, so I got it back, fully threw all the accessories on. I went ahead and you know, replaced the starter, replaced a couple other things just to make it look nice. It's that, you know, you get a brand new engine basically from the machine shop, and you put all crusty parts on it, it's not gonna look good. So that's what I did there. So one thing I still do got to do, which is definitely on the list, is I gotta cut a freaking scoop into this hood one way or another. I was initially thinking of like cutting slits here, and here, and basically peeling that up if possible, and then, you know, sheet metal in the sides or whatever, right? That's just like a cheap way to go, because I really don't have to buy much material. I could just do it. But I did find a scoop, like a low profile scoop, and I think it's like 15 inches, so probably from like here to here or something like that. Online it's like $80 and it's fiberglass, so I might just take a gamble with that. But obviously the reason being is because I have this top mounted intercooler here. So yeah, air intake temps, which I don't have that monitored at anyway. I'm just only imagining that it's, you know, bad to say the least. So anyway, that's the future project. I got plenty of room, I could cut all that shit out. Along with that, I also want to redo this piping, because you can see it's just kind of like Mickey Mouse together. I don't like all these couplers. I was having an issue where I was blowing couplers off and shit, and it was just a pain in the ass. So eventually, sooner than later, hopefully, I'd like to get those clamp style ones, you know, basically get all this custom made. I got a fabricator dude, local crick up at Sonoma Raceway. He's super sick. He's also super busy, so something like this he's probably not going to jump on right now, but that is who I want to have do it. I want to build, you know, have them TIG weld all this stuff together, not this piping, new piping, and then have like as minimal connections as possible, you know what I mean, like just where they need to be. Then I want to get all this Cerakoted, including my intake, my fucking intercooler rather, and just everything. Get all the pipe work done, because now it's running, it's back to, you know, well, it's where it needs to be as far as like running condition. Now I can start focusing on other stuff. So yeah, what else? That's pretty much it. I did add one of these stance water pump pulleys because, well, for one, I guess there's issues with cavitation over 6,000 RPMs with these SRs, so that's cool. That pulley alone fixed that issue. Also, probably can't see it down in there, but if you noticed from my other videos when I had to notch the frame for the alternator, there's a good amount more room in there now because you could, excuse me, you could use the same alternator belt, alternator water pump pulley belt when you get this oversized pulley. But what it does is it sucks the pulley in, the alternator in closer to the engine, and then yeah, so that's cool. What else? That's pretty much it. I mean, interior wise, we're all stock because, like I said, I was just, you know, focusing on the engine for now. But I did go ahead and put in my wideband boost control or boost gauge and an oil pressure gauge, just because on the first startup, first drive and all that, I wanted to make sure, you know what I mean, I just want to be able to monitor that stuff. So anyway, speaking of the first drive, you know, I've never had an engine rebuilt ever. I just, you know, like I said, these are $2,500 engines as far as I'm concerned, so if ever there's an issue with one, you typically just tossed it or sold it for the low back in the day, and then you go buy a new one, right? So today's pricing, that's really not feasible. It also doesn't make sense because if you go buy one from an importer right now and it's like 5 to 8K depending on which one you get, then imagine it, you know, still being a 30-year-old engine having issues. So I figured, I was like, well, might as well just get it rebuilt. So anyway, get it rebuilt, talk to the engine builder. Paul was like, I was like, so what's the, like, what do you do? Like, how do you break it in, you know? Like, he was like, well, basically you do XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And it's like an hour-long process. And I'm like, an hour long? That's it? Like, I just got to drive it basically on the highway for an hour is what he says. And he says, keep it between these parameters, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't know shit. Obviously, this dude knows everything about, you know, what he's doing, so I'm trusting him, but it seems scary. I just dropped all these thousands of dollars on his engine and you tell me that after an hour it's good. Like, when I think of breaking stuff in, I'm thinking of, like, you know, a clutch, right? A clutch, typically, that's like 500 miles or some shit, you know what I mean? This dude said 1 hour and it's good. And I'm like, okay, so after 1 hour I could give it the beans. Like, literally 1 hour doing what you just said and then it's good. He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh shit, okay. So anyway, we come across the issue where we get everything together, get it back in the truck, and then it's like time to start it. And I'm like, well, let's backtrack. What he said was, the only thing you can't do is let this thing idle. He's like, that's where people screw up. They start the engine, they're dicking around with this and that, and then, you know, meanwhile your bearings or whatever just in there just floating around, and that's the bad part. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I didn't really think much of that until it came to that time for me. And what ended up happening was, I had me and a couple of my boys over, Rob and Greg, shout out to y'all. We got all this stuff in, and I'm like about ready to start it, and I'm like thinking, wait a minute, I gotta add more coolant, because you can only add so much coolant while the engine's cold, you know, not running. Topped off everything else, you know, oil, whatever, but then I gotta time it, right? Like, it's mechanically timed, but I gotta get the actual timing gun on it to get it to like idle and blah blah blah. So anyway, long story longer, short story long, I freaking jacked the truck up, started up, put all this shit in there, and I'm like just like frantically checking for oil leaks, coolant leaks, this leak, that leak, vacuum leaks. I'm hearing vacuum leaks. It's a bunch of shit going on, so that's definitely not a time I was going to be recording, for sure. But all in all, at the end of the day, it was good. We timed it real quick, dumped more coolant in it last second, slammed the hood, and just took it. Went, and it did its job. Maybe I'm just like pessimistic or whatever, but I'm just like expecting the worst, you know what I mean? So anyways, enough blabbering on. I just wanted to give you guys an update. Like I said, the last part of this video was months ago, and yeah, so now we're good. This thing runs, it's broken in. I'm not gonna do any driving footage really right now. I'm gonna go down to the a little local spot, little private yard, and probably do a couple of donuts just so we could see that. But yeah, man, just wanted to touch base with you guys and let you know I'm still alive. The truck is now running A1, so that's awesome. But yeah, I will catch you guys in a little bit, so enjoy this little clip, man, and just know there's more to come for sure. All right, later.